Welcome back to the Fly Up podcast. I'm your host, Maya.
And I'm Itana. Thank you for being here for another episode.
Today's guest, all the way from Baltimore, Maryland, is a student pilot who, after earning her PPL in the UK, made the bold move to go to the US to pursue her dream of becoming a commercial pilot.
Her journey has been shaped by growth, courage, and the confidence to step beyond her comfort zone in the pursuit of her dreams.
Riya, welcome to the Fly Up podcast. We're so happy to have you here with us today.
Hi guys, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here and talk to you guys. I remember we met like a year ago in the flight pad event, and that's where kind of this whole trio started. um, and it's so nice to finally get together and talk to you guys again.
There it really is. So, to start us off, what first sparked your curiosity about flying and what gave you the confidence to move across the world to pursue it?
So when I like speak to like other people that are like pilots and stuff, they all have like these really crazy stories of how like they got into aviation and stuff. And then when I think about mine, it's not that crazy, but it is what it is, right? So when I was like younger, I genuinely had no idea like what I wanted to do in my life. For the longest time, I wanted to be a teacher. I don't know why. And then I think I was in like year 10 or year 11. I don't remember. I just came across like this video on like YouTube or something, and it was to do with aviation. And that's genuinely what like sparked my interest. Because at that time I had nothing in mind that, oh, this is what I want to do. So I was kind of like open, if that makes sense. So I came across this video, and like that's kind of where it started. And then I never thought that like I would actually be able to do it. Like it was always in the back of my mind. But I just didn't think that, I would be able to do it. Because whenever like in school and stuff, we'd have like career presentations and stuff. It'd always be about the more obvious choices, which is like law, medicine, all of that stuff. And aviation was never something that was talked about in schools. So I always thought that, oh, maybe it's like something that I can't get to. And then that's when I came across like Fantasy Wings, and genuinely like such a good program. And like I didn't even apply like to any like schemes or anything. Like it just came like as a really, really good opportunity. And like it was phenomenal. Like I think it was 9 months, 10-month program. And it was so good. And at the end of it, I got to take my first ever trial flight in like 2024. And that was honestly the best experience ever. And then once I took that flight, I was like, yeah, this is exactly where I want to go and what I want to do. And then America was never like in my radar of kind of coming here to do training. But when like our green card applications got approved, I just saw it as an opportunity for me to kind of see what they have to offer. And I did my research and I looked at flight schools, and it just, in a lot of ways, just seemed appropriate for me at that time. So I took the decision to come to the US.
That's so lovely. I mean, we can all testify to Fancy Wings. We've all been through the program. So we know how amazing Fancy Wings is in helping us like realize that our dream is to fly. So yeah, Fancy Wings is amazing. And now you're in America pursuing your dream. Why do you decide to do the route that you are doing now, the modular training route, as opposed to another route such as the integrated training route?
So I think getting a degree was very important to me, because it was kind of like a backup plan if anything ever went wrong. It was just good to have. And then so what like training modularly just made sense, and it was just convenient that I could also go to uni and also train at the same time. So I started university last year at University of West London in their air transport management course. And then our first year was like 5 modules in uni, and then our 6th module was our PPL. So just having that flexibility to be able to get a degree and get a private pilot license and my commercial license just made sense. And then now I'm in second year of university doing my commercial training, and then I'll go back for third year. And the modular route is just also in terms of like financing stuff, because you have that flexibility of paying lesson to lesson. It just makes it easier to just convenient, and you don't have to pay such a huge amount at once, and it's just easier in my That's what I think. Yeah.
And how did you know that the US was the right place for your next chapter of training?
Yeah, so as I said, like initially, America was never in my radar of looking for flight schools. But earlier last year, when our green card applications got approved, like my family was still making the decision of whether they wanted to move to the US or just stay in the UK. And then that's when I was also in the middle of researching flight schools in the UK for my commercial training. So the green card application like came at the like basically the perfect time because I was still in that research phase. I was able to then take that as an opportunity to look for schools in the US. And from my research, what I found was that number one, it's so much more cheaper in the US compared to in the UK. The weather is so much better. Like you probably don't get as many clouds and it's sunny most of the time. And I think when I was doing my PPL in the UK, like my biggest kind of hurdle was the weather. And plus because I was doing it in November, um, like I had so many weather cancellations. My like qualifying cross country got pushed back because of the weather. So I think just having that like not having to worry about the weather was a really big thing for me as well. And I think it's the fact that there's so many schools and so much opportunity here. Like in the UK, we don't have as many flight schools as there are here. So in the UK, like where you're looking for flight schools, you might be put on a wait list to actually start flying, and that's what happened to me during my PPL. So that kind of delayed it even more. But over here, because there's so many schools in so many different places, it just makes your training smoother and faster in a sense, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, that was those reasons were mainly the reasons why I chose to come to the US, and it just felt right.
That's amazing, Ria. So, Ria, we want to dive into like the training aspect of your PPL. What was it like learning radio communications? And what part of radio communication challenged you the most? Was it perhaps like the phrasing, maybe learning the phonetic alphabet, or the timing and when to actually speak, or maybe the confidence, even to have the confidence to speak with ATC and other pilots flying around? What was it that was particularly challenging about radio communication?
Radio is like daunting at first. Like when I remember taking my first flight and like I was sitting next to my instructor and he just started speaking on the radio and like I was like, I know English, like why don't I understand what he's saying? And I was just sitting there like, I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to speak like this. And then slowly, like as time went on, like he basically, my instructor gave me like a little script of what to say, especially when we're talking to radio. So I was flying out of North Broad Airfield, so we had a radio there. So how we should basically communicate and what information you should ask. So when it was like when I stuck to the script, I was fine. But as soon as like they would say something else, I would be like, oh wait, what am I supposed to reply to that? And there's been so many times where like I've confused. There's two words, Roger and Wilco. The amount of times that I've used them interchangeably when they're two separate words is like, I remember like once I said the wrong one and then my instructor had to jump in and be like, no, this is not the right thing. So yeah, definitely the phrasing and how things should be said is quite difficult to get hold of. But as it says, it's just as you practice more, as you keep listening to the radio when you're flying, it just gets easier. And I think the one problem with me was I was trying to be perfect. So there, like I would make my initial call to like a radio, and then I'd sit there for like 30 seconds just overthinking what I'm going to say, and that just didn't help me. And then I'd start speaking and I'd completely mess it up. So I think the thing that helped me the most was just staying relaxed. Like you know what you're going to say, just don't overthink it and just go for it. And like the radio operators, they know that you're new and like you're still learning, so they're also quite like nice in those senses as well. Um but yeah, I think one of the things that really helped me, especially for my radio exam, was this website called Wilco. It's a paid like subscription, but genuinely it's so good. Like every like it goes step to step exactly what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be saying. Like even things like how to handle emergencies, like pan calls, mayday calls. If you're lost, what do you do? And the structure is exactly how it is in your radio exam. So that really helped me kind of brush up on my radio skills. And then when I started to do like navigation, when I would plan out my nav route, with my nav route, I'd also plan out my radio calls and like what I'd be saying. So that again really helped me that, oh, if I'm flying like through Southend, I need to ask them for a basic service or whatever. So all of those things kind of really helped me to build that confidence and get those phraseologies and everything right. And then yeah, it just got easier from there.
Yeah, I mean, it totally does feel like a totally different language. And
Yeah.
I can understand how overwhelming that must feel for, like, student pilots, because it's like, what I think a lot of people don't even know what's being said, you know? It is English, apparently, but it doesn't sound like it at all, so it does seem like a lot to kind of especially getting over, like, gaining the confidence to be able to speak with ATC and everyone else, so yeah, it does seem like quite a difficulty, to be fair.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does. As we know, well, as most of us know, at the end of your PPL, you need to do your PPL skills test. So, what surprised you the most about the PPL skills test compared to normal lessons? For those that don't know, can you explain to them what is a PPL skill test?
Yeah. So I'll first explain what happens in a PPL skills test and what exactly happens. So um, your skills test is basically after you've done all your training for the PPL according to the syllabus that's set out by the CAA, and you've given all your theory exams, and you've done your radio exam. You basically just basically putting what you know to practice. And so I think you start off with a navigation route. So I think I had my navigation route was 3 legs, and then I did the first leg. So basically, your examiner is just looking at like how you handle the aircraft, and what you're doing at your turn points, whether you're doing your checks, etc. And then once you get to your first turn point, they usually make you do a diversion. So you use your diversion plotter and they tell you where to go and then you divert the plane. So once that diversion happens, it's basically just like general handling. So you have your stalls, spiral dives, um, and just all of those things, your 3 types of stalls and everything. And then you do that and then you head back to your airfield and then you do circuits. So I did 3 circuits. So one normal one, a flapless circuit, and then a glide approach. So obviously you learn all of these things before you do it anyways. But for me, when I was going to do my skills test, so the day before my skills test, I was looking at the weather forecast because it was a random Wednesday on November. Wasn't expecting it to be good. And the weather forecast, literally the entire week before my skills test, was just thunderstorms, heavy rain, low cloud base. So there was literally no way that my exam could have happened. Like until the night before my test, the weather was just like really bad. Um, and then on the morning of my test, I get to my flight school and there's literally not a single cloud in the sky. And the weather was like amazing. So that really helped like calm my nerves down because the weather was so much better. But honestly, the most surprising thing for me was like how normal it felt. Like I was just stressing about it, like, oh, this is going to be so like difficult, whatever. But when I got into the plane, it's just like any regular flying, but you're just in control and you're just flying. Like it felt so normal and it was a good feeling. And my instructor, he not instructor, sorry, my examiner, he was really nice as well. So that also really helped. Um, but yeah, it seems scary, but when you actually do it, it's just like a normal regular flight.
Ria, I quickly want to ask about your first solo because you mentioned that prior, like secondary school, you wasn't really too sure about what you wanted to do until like year 10, and then you went to Fancy Wings, and then you decided that you wanted to be a pilot. What was it like doing your first solo? What was your first solo like, knowing that, wow, I'm actually in control of this plane totally by myself, and I'm actually on track to becoming a pilot, which is must have been absolutely crazy to you. So what was that experience like taking off solo?
So I waited so long to do my solo. So when I started my QPL training, I was obviously doing everything that was in the curriculum, and then I was doing circuits, and it came to a point where I was ready to do my solo. But then there was an issue with like my medical. So when if you don't have a valid medical, then you can't do your solo. So then that kind of got pushed back. And then whilst I was getting that medical issue sorted, I didn't take any flights in between because I just thought that there was no point of just paying for flights when I can just get my medical sorted and then just go back to where I was. So after I got my medical sorted and I started flying again, um, there had been I had issues with my landings again. So that kind of really pushed me back as well. But I still remember the day like my instructor told me that you're ready to go solo. So I did I think 2 circuits with my instructor and then he was like, okay, I'm gonna get out the plane. And then he got out the plane and I think it just felt so surreal. Like I couldn't believe that I was actually gonna do this. And until the point that like I didn't take off, I just couldn't believe it. And then like I did because your first solo is just 1 circuit. So I did the first circuit and I came and I was taxiing back to to my flight school and I genuinely just could not believe that that just had happened. And it was like one of the best moments that I've had of my I th- of like of my entire training so far. Like it's the day I don't think I'd ever be able to forget. Like it was amazing. So good.
That is so cool. I can't wait for my first solo. I cannot wait. Oh my days. I actually can't wait. I was so excited for my first solo.
Like to be in control of a plane by itself, that just feels like that's so awesome. So yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations to you, Ria, on achieving that. That is so crazy. And honestly, as I turn on myself aspiring pilots, that is just like a day that aspiring pilots dream of to be flying around in the air.
Mhm.
That's like that's the dream, honestly.
Yeah, it really is. I was gonna ask you as well, because in the UK we have CAA and obviously in America they have the FAA. So did you have to pay to convert it and how long did it take?
Um so my PPL, I had to yeah, so I did have to get it converted in order to fly in America. It does take like a good 45 to 90 days, which I actually didn't know about. And then my flight school reached out to me and they told me that if you want your UK PPL to count, you need to get it converted into the FAA one. Um, so that's why my training kind of got pushed back a little bit. So I think it's just an application form online, and I think I paid $45. So it's not much. And then they would contact the CAA, just to make sure that I'm actually do have a license and I'm not just making it all up. And then I had to pay the CAA, I think £58 for them to pass that information. And yeah, that's about it. It's pretty simple. And then now on Friday, I have an appointment with them so they can just verify my details. And then they will issue me an FAA private pilot
Really?
license.
That's
Yeah.
so good actually, yeah. No, because I heard that I was researching on the internet obviously, and I heard that it took like 6 months for some places, and I was like, that's a long time.
Yeah,
So
they
yeah,
do. It does take time, but thankfully mine didn't take that long. It did take about 3 months. But we're getting there in the end, so it's fine.
Yes, definitely. And Ria, looking back on your flying when you were doing your PPL, what do you think was the most challenging aspect of learning to fly? Was it maybe controlling your airspeed, or maybe coordination, or situational awareness, maybe taxiing, or what was it that was particularly the most challenging aspect of learning how to fly?
I think at one point everything just felt challenging, and then you're just there like, and then you get over that one thing, and you're like, okay, wait, this was fine. And then the next thing comes, you're like, oh, this was challenging, but then you just get over it. But the thing that I struggled with the most was definitely 100% my landings. I just could not land the plane. So I was literally stuck on circuits for the longest time because I knew the circuit pattern. I could take off the plane. I could do everything else, but it was just the actual landing the plane that took me so long. I think I watched like every single YouTube video that there is on how to land a plane and what techniques you use, but like I just could not do it. And I remember like I think this was in September, an entire week, every single day, I was just doing like circuits after circuits after circuits, just trying to do my to get like a good landing and an unassisted landing. And the entire week, like, I genuinely don't think I did one landing on my own. So that entire period was quite like frustrating because you're like, I'm so close, but like it's just literally just when the plane is supposed to touch down the runway that I can't do that. So that was like a really like demotivating and really challenging for me. And then literally the I think on the day after, like on a Monday, I took a flight with another instructor. And he basically asked me, like, what are we doing? And I just said to him, I explained to him that, oh, I'm still on circuits. I just can't land a plane. And the first thing he said to me was, can you see? So I thought he was just joking around because I have glasses. So I was like, yeah, I can see. And then he was like, no, not like that. So then we went to the plane and he lifted my seat up. And then he was like, have a seat and just see how this goes. So we go to the runway and then we're like, the plane's on the runway. We're just about to take off. And he told me to basically take like a mental image of what you see in front of you. So there was like obviously the trees at the end of the runway and all of that. So I like take a mental image of that. Then we take off and I do like the circuit and I'm coming into land. And then he basically told me that when you see the picture that you saw when we were taking off, that's when you basically have to flare because I couldn't judge when I should flare the plane. And then genuinely, like that first one that I tried, like I got it. So the whole issue was just that I basically could not like see because of because my seat was low. Um, so I think this is actually also one of the reasons why I think having multiple instructors is is good. I know there's people that say that you should just stick to one because of their teaching patterns, but like throughout my PPL, I think I'd probably flown with every single instructor in the school. But I think that really helped me because I was learning something different and something new from each one of them. And then whatever worked for me is what I stuck to. So like, for example, in the circuit, like one instructor would tell me that you should configure for your like your flaps and stuff when you're turning base leg. One would tell me you do it when you're turning final. So all of those things, I basically had the opportunity to trial them out, and then whatever worked for me and what I felt comfortable, that's what went with. So definitely, yeah. So my landings, but this instructor really helped me out to see.
Yeah, I mean, every instructor you have could bring like a fresh new perspective, shape you into kind of like a very competent pilot. So I guess that was very great for you and well done on that.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice as well for those that are gonna start flight school soon anyway, that it's good to have multiple instructors have that experience and gather that advice as well. So there are many challenges that you face within flight school. What helped you build confidence when your comfort zone kept being challenged? Like what helped you keep calm or not stay too stressed?
So I think for me, like I'm a very religious person. So for me, like my faith and my religion, like hold a really big part like in my life. And I think you guys did an episode earlier where you guys also spoke about faith. So I really when I watched that episode, I really related to what you guys are talking about. So I'm a Hindu and I'm a follower of BAPS. And whenever there was a point in my training where I felt like, oh, this is too hard for me, like I can't do this, like just remembering like God, it just really like gave me that strength. Um, so one teaching that really stuck to me from one of our scriptures, the Satsang Diksha. So in verse 106, it basically says that whatever God does is for your benefit and that God is the all-doer. So just like literally remembering that one verse is what kept me going, and that remembering that like God is the all-doer and whatever happens is for our benefit and done by him. Uh, that's genuinely what just gave me the confidence to keep going. And yeah.
That's very beautiful, Ria. Likewise, we have scriptures that we have that we remember when we face with
Yeah.
challenging situations. So it can definitely be an encouragement, and that's very lovely that helped you push through the difficult moments in your flight training. In terms of your CPL training, that is just right around the corner. What excites you most about commercial training compared to your PPL training?
Um, well, first of all, honestly, it just takes me closer to that goal of becoming a commercial pilot. So that's already very exciting. Um, but I think when it comes to my PPL, it was kind of learning the whole fundamentals of flying and how you actually like fly a plane, essentially. But now when I think about going into commercial training, it's more about just fine tuning all that you already know and just becoming basically better. And you're just flying with so much more precision, you're flying with more consistency, and you're now starting to think more like a pilot than you are as a student. So I'm really, really looking forward to starting my commercial training. And I'm just really excited to see what my journey has ahead for me.
That is amazing, Ria. Honestly, your story, I love it. I love your story. What advice would you give to those who are about to start flight school or who are looking to start flight school?
Um, I think just my biggest advice would be just stick with what you're doing. Like, there's gonna be challenges, and I think no matter how many people you speak to, everyone's journey is gonna be different. So what I went through, you might not go through, but like something that I didn't go through is something that you will go through. So your journey is gonna be different to everyone else. So no matter how many challenges come your way, just keep going and just make the most of it. Like when you look like years along the line, when you look back to this journey, like you want it to be a journey where like you're proud of what you've done. So just keep going. And I think for those people that are planning to start doing their PPL, I think one of the biggest advice that I would give you that my instructors gave to me was to do chair flying. Now, this you're gonna look a bit stupid when you do this, but genuinely it's gonna save you money. It's gonna save you so much time as well. So chair flying, for those that don't know, is basically after you've done a lesson, basically just come home or anywhere really, just sit on a chair and visualize yourself and imagine yourself that you're inside the plane. So think about what you see in front of you, what your controls, and then just fly the plane in your head and actually imagine that the controls are in front of you. So reach out to the controls, whether it be the throttle, the control column, you're setting your QNH or whatever, and just do it. And literally chair flying, it's amazing. Like it's gonna feel stupid when you do it initially, but genuinely it's one of the best things that I did during my training that really helped me. Because my instructor always used to tell me that when you come to take a flight lesson, you're practicing what you already know. Like the aircraft is not the place to learn. So all your learning needs to basically happen at home. So chair flying is the best way to do that. And then you're basically just going in the aircraft to practice what you've already learned at home. So yeah, that's one of my advice.
Ria, I'm very inspired by your journey. And another thing to mention is that Ria is just 20 years old. So she's achieved all this at 20 years old, which is so inspiring. And yes, I love your journey and we wish you all the best for the future, Ria.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And I hope to stay in touch with both of you.
Yeah,
Yes,
surely,
you're
definitely, without a
definitely.
doubt. So that is it for today. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Fly With Her Podcast.
It's been a pleasure having you on our today's episode, Ria. Honestly, thank you for sharing all your advice with us. And don't forget to tune in, take off, and fly with her.
See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.